YouTube, what is up? This is my first live stream video where I'm going to be talking about bringing up lagging muscle groups. So, thank you so much for checking out the video. Definitely the first time doing this. So, I'm going to go ahead and just like make sure everything's looking good here on my phone. Bear with me while we verify that everything is kind of moving here. Definitely excited to be using this StreamYard platform to like the best of its capabilities here. It seems pretty cool. So just gonna go ahead and check out the fact that like we're actually streaming. Um, yeah, definitely gotta do more of these because okay, let's see. Let's see if I'm actually live here. It's kind of hard to check. Either way, hopefully this saves. So one way or another, I might actually text a friend to see if this is actually going through. But the reason why I'm wanting to make this video stream today and why I've spent like an hour trying to get everything set up is I actually have some of that you've seen on the channel plenty of times, Hunter, with kind of a good training question and a good scenario that he wanted to run by me, kind of just brainstorm, figure out how he can bring up his arms. So I want to go ahead and just kind of copy our conversation over into a document so you can kind of get caught up with what we've been working on here. Love questions like these. If anyone ever has questions like these for me, then I am more than happy to work on it with you. So I just want to go ahead and get this copied on over to a document. And there's my Oh, I am live. What's up, Alyssa? Thank you for helping. I appreciate you. This is cool. I'm having a good time. Straight up having a good time. All right, let's get this copied in so we can go on to the scenario. We are going to be chatting about bringing up lagging muscle groups. Can I copy? Yeah, copy from the messages so y'all don't see the news. Or I mean, so y'all don't see the message screen. Why is Google Chrome making it so hard to fucking copy? That is ridiculous. Goodness. And I have my, oh, okay. It's just saying I can use the shortcuts. Here we go. Here we go. What is happening? I guess there's always going to be kinks. Hey now. There's always going to be things you have to work out when you're streaming for the first time. So thank you all for your patience. There we go. Okay. So let's see how I can present a tab. Let's see here. We're going to share screen. We're going to go to our conversation. This is with Hunter. And let me actually delete Hunter's number that was copied over from our message thread. And then we'll be good to go. So essentially, as I'm making sure that no one texts Hunter here on the internet, essentially what Hunter is running by me is, all right, so we're going to do this window here. We're going to share it. There we go. Perfect. There we go. We are in action. Awesome. So first and foremost, I just want to go ahead and, Hunter, big contributor to the channel. So I'm going to use some of my StreamYard technology here and say, follow Hunter on Instagram at Life of Hunter Longberry. So go do that. And then while we're at it, while I'm fucking doing my shit here, like, comment, and subscribe. And Alyssa's going to get on me tell me that I forgot to ring that bell, but like also ring that bell because that's an important thing that real YouTubers will tell you to do. And yeah, probably something that you should do as well if you want me to keep popping up on your feed. You can hear my nonsense. But right now, I just want to post this to the story as well. Like we are live right now for the Instagram story. Shout out to my guy CJ for putting me on to StreamYard so I can do more live streams. I'm feeling good. And I actually want to turn on these lights too. Oh, shit, that's bright. See how this looks for my face. Anything that helps me look better. Honestly, it's kind of a vibe. I'm fucking with it. Alrighty. So, as you can see, Hunter says, hey, I wanted to bounce an idea off of you. I said, what's up, dude? So he's trying to bring up his arms. Hunter is a men's physique competitor, and he wants to bring up his arms because of course that's a huge part of what he's being judged on. So this is his current training split. You see he's chest, back, legs, shoulders, arms, and definitely think we can tweak a few things to with that split to make his arms come up. So this is his right here. He's suggesting that he does 2 arm and shoulder days, which I love. You know, Hunter and I have actually had a conversation where we discuss um, the specifics of bringing up lagging muscle groups. So I'm really glad that he's increasing frequency. The reason why I'm looking at my phone is I want to get this link so I can post this up and send it to Hunter and kind of go live with it. So yeah, bear with me here while I get my link. Yeah, love to see that Hunter is wanting to up the frequency, especially for movements or for muscle groups like arms, which can just really take a beating in terms of frequency. I do think that that's a great way to go. So shout out to Hunter for having that idea. And then he has his kind of like suggested structure of how he would structure those arm days. And almost done getting my links out there. So read over Hunter's suggested structure here. Go ahead and highlight this while I post this up, and then we will discuss. But so you have a good understanding of the process. Posting this up on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram at DMart Training. We'll get this banner out of the way. You can get out of here. Follow me on DMart Training right here. Alrighty. So Hunter is looking to structure the first arm day with 3 movements for bis and tris and a shoulder press and a lateral raise. Love that. You know, great structure there. Big fan of his thoughts, and I think, yeah, that honestly could be a really good kind of way of doing this. I'm gonna go ahead and post them in the comments. What's up? I can't type because my mic is on my keyboard too. The viewers. What's up to the viewers? What's up, guys? Perfect. Alrighty. So second day would kind of be more of like a pump day. Is kind of what I'm getting there. So my first question for Hunter, with the structure of the kind of like proposed situation here, with these being back to back, that's one thing that I would potentially look to switch up because, you know, even if he's not fully going in and blasting his arms, I do think it might be a good idea to have a rest day to kind of prevent overlapping soreness. If you are, and he said, you know, typically he doesn't get super sore, and I'm the same way, you know, really regardless of how hard you blast your arms. My triceps can get pretty sore, and then if I'm really blasting my biceps, they can get sore. So, you know, most of the time though, he doesn't have crazy soreness. However, even though you don't have crazy soreness, I do think it's still a good idea for essentially the mechanism of hypertrophy to have an extra day in between if you're going to approach this situation with this amount of volume. So we're talking, you know, let's say he starts off at 2 sets for each one of those 3 movements, 6 sets, and then maybe he works his way up to like 4 or 5 sets. So 12 to 15 sets. To go like, let's say an average of 10 sets back to back, I think that can kind of diminish some of the adaptations that can occur with hypertrophy training. It'd probably be a better idea to give that a day in between. So maybe he goes chest, legs, arms, rest, back, arms. Or maybe he starts his week off with arms and shoulders. Essentially switching one of those arms and shoulders days with the chest day, hitting chest later on in the week, so that there's less of kind of like an overlap of direct interference. And of course, with your chest training, your triceps might get a little sore from certain pressing movements, but I think that's a little bit less interference than directly training triceps. So if you were to stick to this structure, then I think restructuring the days so they're not back to back would be in his best bet. Not a bad idea here, but I think it could be better. And um, another thing I wanted to hit on real quick before I talk about my current split that I've been honestly making some pretty solid gains on for arms and shoulders is the point he made down below. So he said, I typically don't get super sore with my arms. My thought process is kind of how after you do legs, you go in and do cardio on a bike and your legs blow the fuck up and actually feel better after. So that one is something that I see quite a bit, something that I've done in the past, going on a walk, going on a bike ride, definitely helps with recovery. But you want to be careful. And this isn't necessarily directed at Hunter. This is more so directed at the audience. If you were to try to purposefully chase that feeling of alleviation of like soreness by, let's say, like taking a walk right after, I wonder what this looks like. Hold on. I want to change my view real quick. Make myself bigger, maybe? Let's try that. Oh, nope. I'm way too ugly for that. I like this right here. And then can I move this? No, I can't. That's fine though. So the metabolites that accumulate with a hard training session that cause soreness. Let's pull up this study. This is a study that I've read over much in the past. And it is, getting into the weeds a little bit, but we're going to highlight over the broad strokes of this study because it is a solid one here. So metabolic stress, that I think is like a main driver for soreness, especially in the moment. When you're feeling that burn, that is metabolite accumulation. So we have ions like lactate, phosphate inorganic, and hydrogen that build up while you're training. That's what accounts for that burn that you're feeling. And that is a good indicator to start the hypertrophy mechanisms for your muscles to grow. So going back to Hunter's point right here, and once again, not so much for Hunter, more so for my general audience here. So if you are purposefully trying to alleviate soreness by doing things like a bike ride right after your leg day, or maybe even the day after your leg day, if you're doing like a real hard cardio session, you might actually be flushing out some of those metabolites, which is diminishing the hypertrophic response from your training session. And that's not to say skip your cardio, but you want to make sure that there's an appropriate amount of time after your leg day session and your cardio. A lot of times, people, they don't want to feel that soreness. They don't want to feel like it's hard to walk up the steps, but that's an indicator that you actually trained hard and you're driving that adaptation that is muscle growth. So for all my viewers out there, I wanted to include that because obviously it's good to circulate blood through the muscle to, help with the recovery process, but you don't want to diminish it. That's the big takeaway there. Now, with that being said, I want to talk about the current training split that I have rocking. And it is actually on the RP Hypertrophy app here. So we can kind of go over my approach because, not to toot my own horn, but I have gotten a good amount of muscle growth lately with my shoulders and biceps specifically. And that's because I actually followed the Jared Feather template here on the RP Hypertrophy app. The Jared Feather template has a very high frequency for shoulders and biceps. And I think that's important because, like Hunter said in the text message, you can hammer biceps, shoulders with a ton of volume. You can train them hard and you're not going to get a ton of overlapping soreness. But what will happen is you're still driving adaptations so that they can continuously grow over time. Now, one thing that you might ask me is, hey, if you're training shoulders and biceps back to back all the time, you just said that might not be a good idea when you gave your critique for Hunter's split. Yes, training high volumes, really intense sessions back to back probably isn't your best bet. But what I will say is that if you're training low volumes, like I might do 1 to 3 sets throughout an entire training program, because I'm hitting shoulders like 4 or 5 times a day. With that being said, I think that frees up the recovery for your biceps and shoulders to recover by the next session quite well. Sometimes I'm slightly sore when I hit, towards the end of a program when my volume and intensity is really high. I might be slightly sore, but then I'll know for that next session, I'm just going to come in and get a pump and not really bury myself. Because when you constantly train with overlapping soreness in your shoulders and biceps are always feeling dead, that's not what we want. We want to have just barely recovered, maybe like a slight bit of soreness. It's kind of like the acceptable threshold. But I think this higher frequency approach really can do some things for a lot of people if they're looking to bring up those upper body muscles. Now, let me get this drink because I've been talking a fuck ton. So, talking about kind of like the layout of this program, my goal with the layout of things is to make it as easy as possible. So, you're seeing here, starting out on Monday with free motion Y raises right into curls. Not necessarily supersetting. Sometimes if I'm short on time, I'll superset. But I like starting a lot of my upper body workouts with shoulders because I think it's just like a good way to kind of like warm up, get some blood through those muscles, and really just prime yourself for a good upper body session to come. I like hitting shoulders first on all my push and pull workouts, like almost all the time. I'll be hitting shoulders as like a first main movement. You see here on Wednesday, I have forearms and abs first, but that's just because typically if I don't hit them first, I skip them. So trying to avoid that. But yeah, starting it off with Y raises on the free motion machine. Really love this machine. Then I do a bicep curl and an easy bar curl. Really, I'm only doing probably 4 sets of biceps here and 2 or 3 sets of shoulders here. So I can recover on Wednesday and hit those muscle groups again, where I do an Atlantis, which is just like a really nice machine, lateral raise and rear delt row as a superset. And then I get into my bicep work once again. So I don't absolutely bury myself in all these sessions because I do them more frequently throughout the week. But if you can push yourself just hard enough to where you're starting to feel like, man, I got a great pump and I got a little bit of soreness, that's where the key is. So another thing that's important to mention when you're discussing bringing up lagging muscle groups is positioning them earlier in the session. One, because you can focus the most physical energy into those muscle groups, and you can focus a lot of your mental energy into them as well. Because how many times at the end of a tough push day do you see biceps or shoulders on the menu and you're like, fuck it, like I'm going to skip this and go to work, or I'm going to skip this and go home after a long day of work. Positioning those muscle groups first in the session, it's a nice little primer, and you're going to actually give them the due diligence that they deserve. So, you've seen kind of like the first half of the week here. Also, love this leg day here. I just gotta fucking hype myself up here. The lying leg curl into stiff leg deadlift combo. Holy shit, that fucking hits. And then like a unilateral leg press into the leg press. Nutty. Unilateral leg press might be more glutes, but I also get quite a bit of quads out of it. That's why you see it that way. Not here to toot my own horn, though. I want to keep addressing the question. So toward the end of the week, you'll see here, back-to-back shoulders and biceps. And once again, you're like, Dave, you just told Hunter that might not be a good idea. However, I will say, when I have like quote unquote tougher movements, like the easy bar curl for me, it's tough. I get sore off of it. I get fucking insane pumps. Yeah, that one is like a only one bicep movement for that day. Not messing around with 2. Also, lower shoulder volume as well, so I can go in and hit them on Saturday. So you guys kind of get the trend here. Don't want to like, what was it called? What, bury a dead horse? No, kick a dead dog. Fuck. I don't want to overdo this point here, but I think higher frequency, more times throughout the week at lower volumes with intensity in mind. Like if you have a really hard movement, space that out in between a day where you'll get some time to rest before you hit those muscle groups again. That's going to be your big key to bringing up those lagging muscle groups. Hunter, appreciate you bringing this point to me. Great question and great thoughts. Increase your frequency, maybe even more. Maybe you start at 2 days, then you add a third, see how you recover. Then you add a fourth, see how you recover. I think it's going to add some great gains. So appreciate that question. That was a great question, Hunter. And I want to go ahead and close this off here. Go back to me. So appreciate the opportunity to talk about this for sure. Definitely, shoot me a DM for any type of program analysis, form analysis. Love doing this content, and it's a lot of fun for me. Definitely spread some good information in a positive way as well. So let's do more of these. If anyone has questions, go ahead, shoot them my way on Instagram at the DMs. My Instagram is @DmartTraining if you missed it. Appreciate you, Hunter. Make sure you go ahead and follow Hunter. It is much appreciated, and he's got some cool things coming up as well. Shout out to Hunter, starting his own business, probably going to be competing in the next maybe year or two. I guess we'll see. And then, of course, like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell, and I will be back with a new video soon. See you guys in the next one.